Hey there, friends. So I want to start just by saying I'm really interested in Gerald de Jong's recent foray back into the tensegrity world, and he wants to link up with the real world more, not just have these be cyber. I'm fine with the virtual and all that you can do with them. They've animated, if you remember elastic interval geometry, that's how this gets filed away. And Gerald's a very talented programmer and mathematician. So he's done some good work here, which, in the past too. This is a next chapter, but I guess my theme in this video is the the generations of silence around sort of, Bucky Fuller, Kenneth Snelson. There was a big sort of groundswell in the 80s, I would say, of articles and interest in what we call tensegrity. And then Sam Lanahan has what he calls flextegrity, and I was just reading his literature today because I was in the gallery. I'm going to pick up where we started, where we left off yesterday, or actually, it wasn't as recent as yesterday, but when Deb was here, I made a video about a private tour of the gallery that we took together. She's gone back to California now, but today, Friday, that was last weekend we did that. But this Friday I got to be in charge of the gallery for a few hours because the sculptors are in town, and Sam has timed this pop up to coincide with that because it does qualify as very interesting sculpture. In addition to a feat of engineering. And looking over the literature today, Sam's push has been, since he's just a small company and can't afford to build lots of expensive physical prototypes to test its applications in the many ways he'd like to test it. Can't software do that? Can't we have simulations? Aren't there finite element analysis tools? Doesn't physics provide the tools necessary? And he's hired physics and engineering help to get something more like a simulation. By the way, the Portland airport is kind of an isotropic vector matrix or octet truss, but with lots of curvature, and this is the kind of thing that CAD designs can, help with. I'm not a super expert in this. That's Pendleton Store. Goodbye, Deb. Good seeing you. Hope come back and visit. Anyway, interesting art there. We went to beaches. I'm more in the humanities side, right? Because Bucky Fuller quotes poets and writes about the history of banking and shipping, and he's very much interdisciplinary, and I think that's why his story is a challenge because nobody wants to venture out of their compartment of expertise and maybe sound foolish. So even though there's a strong mathematical side to this, it's not something mathematicians want to grab because it too quickly goes to things that aren't math, and vice versa. Now, philosophy you might think would be the most interdisciplinary, and therefore its logical home, and I agree, that's where synergetics belongs. But philosophy too has become very, very specialized. And so, really, the point of this gallery, in my mind, is to make a big splash and then register the silence, register how little people want to capitalize on all of this, right? It's like the opportunities here to talk about the Bucky stuff. For me, it's just a bridge to the stem through the whole number volumes meme, which I talk about extensively. All that could have been out and discussed years ago in continuity with what was going on in the 80s, really. But the choice was made to sort of bury this whole story, and now what? We're like much further along. But the design science revolution, so called, didn't entirely not happen. I would say the open source revolution was a part of it, and we're still here to talk about, our future, but we need to talk grid talk more. instead of throw them in jail. You know, the U.S., everybody's like final bottom line is throw them in jail. It's always moralizing, finding the crooks, finding the bad people. In the meantime, California's infrastructure really does need to be upgraded. We need to talk seriously about electrical grids, not just pipelines and not just water systems, but infrastructure in general. We need to have adult conversations. And if all we can say is throw them in jail, I don't know if that's really an adult conversation. So my question is, does the former United States have any adults left? Something like that. Is there a way, even in academia anymore, to have kind of serious discussions of, is Flextegrity more likely to solve certain structural problems than tensegrity? Kenneth Nelson was quite dismissive of tensegrity having any practical applications. He was an artist, and he kind of exulted in maybe tying it off, that there would never be any real applications beyond art, and that would suit him fine, actually. And in a way, he was trying to head off Bucky, who he regarded as competition. And if Fuller thought he could do something practical and inventive, that was just going to get sneered at from Kenneth's corner. At least those phases, those were chapters in the story. As time went on, he did take a look at bridges, and he was slated to build the tower on top of One World Trade Center. That was going to be a tensegrity tower. I don't really know what happened to that plan, but in any case, Kenneth did start to see that some practical uses of tensegrity might be out there, and he did get to meet with Sam too and talk a little bit about Flextegrity. But this attempt to like get the cartoon physics, like simulate on into the future, because it's hard to find anyone who wants to collaborate on the physical models and actually like study this stuff. Well, I don't know. The state of the art in software may not be advanced enough to go there. So going back to finding collaborators in the material science world is a realistic thing for Sam, and for me, it's more about connecting to the humanities to through quadrays and all that to philosophical investigations and Ludwig Wittgenstein and talk about, can we have a language like synergetics and have it mean something post Wittgenstein? And, why not? It's a sandcastle. You can build sandcastles, and Fuller does, around the meme of 4D. 4D not for 3D plus time, but for the primitive aspects of the tetrahedron, which is the minimal volumetric container. And from there, as volume 1, you get the cube of volume 3 and the so-called concentric hierarchy, which is embedded in the CCP. That's Bucky right there in that picture with Sam. And there's a good dedication from Bucky about how they went halfway around the world together. I told that story last time regarding going to the Philippines and so forth. There's me helping to sponsor, because Sam is thanking people who've worked with him for helping to contribute. And Guy Inchbald, that's a name I recognize, and Joe Clinton too, is on the back of Sam's book. So in terms of, making history, I think this gallery is definitely making history. And it really doesn't matter that much if a lot of people come. It's just, I'm sad that it's a missed opportunity for those people. I get to exult in it and take lots of pictures and take full advantage. But hey, that's because I'm close to I've got a front row seat. So I'm sharing with y'all. All right, that's better than nothing, right? Portland, Oregon, October 11th. I was there from around 1:30 to 6 or so. Took some new pictures. Talk to you later.